without further ado, I'd like to introduce you, Dave, who has
Recording in progress.
a wonderful presentation on digital IMCOM with VARA HF and peer-to-peer WinLink. Dave, take it away.
Thank you very much. I want to talk with you about a technology that is extremely useful for emergency communications and in some cases in some very specific situations. So I hope this will be of interest to you. So first of all, what's WinLink? This may be review for some of you who have some familiarity with WinLink. It's a digital radio system that sends and receives email messages through regional message stations. There's one in our area in West Valley City, and there's one in Farmington, these regional message centers. You can send an email into the worldwide internet email system to any valid email address anywhere in the world, or you can send it to another amateur radio operator who's using WinLink to the call sign of that amateur radio operator. And it's set up so that if the internet is down, for example, and Farmington or the West Valley City RMS station, regional message station, does not have internet access, it can forward that message by HF from one RMS to another one until it finds an RMS that has internet connectivity, and it puts it into the system at that point. It's pretty amazing technology.
So what is an RMS? You said a regional message station?
Regional message station.
Okay.
RMS is a regional message station. You can use a UHF or a VHF for local communications, and HF for long distance communications. And you don't have to go through a regional message center to use either one of these. You can go HF from your station to another WinLink station by HF. You can go by VHF, UHF from yours to another one. I'll talk more about that later on. That'll be kind of the focus of our discussion. And if the internet is up, you can use WinLink and access it by telnet as well. In fact, some people who want to get started in that and maybe don't have the capability right now to do it by radio, but you want to learn about WinLink, become familiar how it works, what its capabilities are. It's free. You download the app, and you can get on by telnet just to learn how to use it. We really encourage you to do that, to become familiar with its capabilities.
Now, what he's talking about here is you're going to download WinLink Express. It's called WinLink Express.
Yep.
And you will need to request a password for WinLink Express. And but you just as you sign on, you can just request it right there as you download your WinLink Express. And it's really easy to set up. If you have questions on how to set it up, we can give you information on that as well.
Okay. So I'm going to try to answer a few questions, or we're going to try to answer a few questions. First of all, why digital? Why do we want to use digital communications for emergency communications? Why? Any ideas?
Well, first off, digital can be error corrected. And the nice thing about it, you can send a list, you can send pictures, you can send damage assessments, you can send position reports, you can request weather information, you can request a whole, WinLink Express has how many forms?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, anyway, they have a list of forms that within WinLink Express that you can request these forms, fill them out, and send them out over the system, and get all kinds of information back.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute here.
Okay.
Yes.
The biggest thing is accuracy.
Yes, faster for the voice information and less error prone. Absolutely.
If you're at a hospital and they bring in a 5-page list of drugs, you don't want to try to send that by hand.
Absolutely. And if you're in a Red Cross shelter and you're sending a list of needed supplies using this official Red Cross ARES disaster requisition form, how would you like to try to send this by voice? I wouldn't want to do that. So digital is faster and it's accurate.
And there's a record.
And there's a record there, absolutely, yes, thank
For
you.
the aftermath of the event.
So WinLink has pre-formatted fillable forms, as Russ was just saying, for these some examples for Red Cross shelter operations. hospital and other medical operations, including status reports and ordering resupply of medications and other supplies. They have forms for all that. ICS forms, ARR radiograms, weather reports, infrastructure status reports. These are just some examples. There are many, many others, but these are the ones that I think are kind of most interesting that you can do. And it pops up a form, you fill out the form, you attach it to your email message, and it goes away. And the person on the other end, if they have WinLink, the form appears just like it's a form on their computer. It's not just text, the form actually appears on their computer as well too.
And you can print it out.
Yes, and you can print it out, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so now, I think that's why digital is important, because it's, but now let's ask why VARA FM for WinLink Digital? Well, it's very robust and very fast. I'll talk about that here in a minute. Maximum possible speed is 12,750 bits per second in what's called narrow mode. That's pretty fast, isn't it? A little bit better than dial-up, right? And 25,210 bits per second in wide mode. That's assuming you have very good signals and a high quality sound card to reach that maximum possible speed. That's pretty fast.
Now, is this in the free mode, or is this in?
This is the paid version. I'll talk
Paid
about
version,
I'll
okay.
talk about the free version in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
This is the maximum possible with the paid version of it. Now, and consider this: 1,200 baud packet throughput is about 300 bits per second. Okay, so this is pretty fast. Yes.
Sorry to keep asking the question,
Please. No.
but VARA, is that a TNC, a software program you run with WinLink? What exactly is it?
It is a software program, a standalone modem, okay? Standalone modem that you use with a sound card. And it accomplishes all that as a standalone modem. If you're using Packet for WinLink, you have to download another modem, a sound card modem. But VARA includes the modem in that software altogether.
Yeah. It's actually, if you go to WinLink Express and you want to open up an action or a session, it'll bring you several different modes. You've got Telnet, you've got VARA HF, you've got VARA FM. There's 2 or 3 different sections in there. And once you've selected VARA, WinLink Express will open up the VARA modem and set up all the dependencies that are necessary, and you just connect in. Now, you can run it through a, you do need to have a sound card interface of some type, because it does put out tones for your radio. If you've got some of the new modern radios, like the 705 or the 7300 or some of the other ones that you can just take a direct connect to your computer, to the computer, then it automatically takes care of that.
I'll talk about that more in a minute. So.
Okay.
Can I ask one follow-up question?
Yes, please.
If I get all set up with VARA and it works great here, and I need to send a lengthy communique back to Washington DC to Red Cross, and they're not using a VARA, will they still be able to receive it?
If you have an email address for them, yes, you just send it to their email address.
Okay.
If it's a standard email address, you can send it to their standard email address. Okay?
But can I go radio to radio with them?
What you would do is you would get into the system, and you would send it to a regional message center station, and it would then take it and send it through their system. If the internet's up, it'll go right into the internet. If the internet's not up, then it will go by HF from one station to another until it finds a regional message center that has connectivity. Then it will insert that into the email system, and it will go by email from that point.
So
I can't do it peer-to-peer?
you can do peer-to-peer if that other station is running VARA.
You can. It's possible. It's remotely possible to do HF peer-to-peer, but that's a little bit more difficult. Okay.
But if you go on the VARA, you select VARA and WinLink Express, and I don't mean to take all your thunder. If I'm doing this, please tell me to shut up and I'll.
Yeah. Once you hold, let's get through this first.
Okay.
That'd be good. Okay. Another reason why it's so robust is it uses ARQ, automatic repeat query, which gives you error-free protocol. What that means is when it sends a packet, it will do a checksum based upon the value of the data in the packet. The receiving station then looks at the data and looks at the checksum that was sent along with the data, and if they don't agree, it'll say, please resend that. And so it will not accept that data, the receiving station, until it acknowledges that it's received it correctly based upon the checksum. And then the sending station won't send a new packet until that happens too. So that makes it completely error-free. It's not as susceptible as packet to poor signal paths, such as multipath. In fact, people have said that even sometimes when FM voice won't work, VARA HF will work. It automatically adjusts the speed it sends based upon the signal quality and also by the length of the message. If it sees you got a very long message, it looks at the size of the message, it will bump the speed up. If it's not so big, it may bump the speed down a little bit, and then we'll adjust that based upon the signal quality as well. So it will send the maximum, the best speed based upon the signal path and the size of the message.
One thing I might say here about this maximum speed he's talking about up here at the top. Now, this is military-grade communications.
It is, and I'm going to show you how that works. Okay,
Okay.
yes, it is military-grade communications. Another neat thing about this is if you have a packet, you always operate on the assigned packet frequencies, right? You can use VARA FM on any FM voice frequency. So if you're on a voice net, for example, you can say, net control, can I pass VARA traffic to so-and-so? And they say, go ahead, pass your VARA traffic on an FM voice frequency. So, how can VARA FM be so blazing fast? It uses something called orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. It has up to 52 simultaneous subcarriers in narrow mode and 116 subcarriers in wide mode within a voice bandwidth. That's what it does. That's why it's military-grade technology. It's amazing. Again, orthogonal frequency division multiplex.
That's a mouthful.
Yep, that's a mouthful. Here's an example of it running. This is what the app looks like when it's running. And this guy's running at 14,144 bits per second when this screenshot was taken. It works. You can download the app from this address. And I would say download it. If you have one link, download it because you can get a free version. We'll talk about that more in a moment. How much does it cost? Unlicensed version is free, but it has speed restrictions. But it's more than twice as fast as packet. In fact, I'm going to back up a minute, okay? I'm going to back up. Maybe. Let me talk about the wide versus narrow. I'll stop for a minute. I'm going to talk about wide mode and narrow mode. Basically, wide mode is twice as fast as narrow mode. But in order to use wide mode, your radio has to have a data port on it that is capable of operating at 9800 baud. And that's because it bypasses the high pass, low pass, pre-emphasis, and de-emphasis filters normally contained in the microphone and speaker circuits of an FM transmitter receiver. They use what's called pre-emphasis and de-emphasis to increase the signal-to-noise ratio. And that affects the bandwidth of this available. And you can't, because it's so much data, they need a flat audio to be able to send it in wide mode. And so that's why if you have a rig that has a 9800 baud data jack, you can run in wide mode. Until recently, I was using my Yaesu FT991A for WinLink. It has a built-in sound card, but it doesn't have a data jack. Or when I was operating portable, I would use a handheld and an external amplifier. Again, I could not use wide mode. About a month ago, I purchased a Yaesu FTM300, which has a data jack on the back of it, so I can operate now at wide mode using VARA FM. Okay, so it's more than twice as fast as packet. Let's see. The unlicensed VARA FM narrow throughput is between 2,000 and 3,000 bits per second for the unlicensed version. That's pretty good. And considering again that normal packet, 1200 baud packet is about 300 bits per second, it's really fast even for the free version. And that's about 5 to 7 times the throughput of packet. If you are running in wide mode, you're talking about 10 to 14 times faster than packet. And that's the free version. So pretty amazing technology. There is also an HF version available. It runs at about 8,000 bits per second maximum speed, because that's harder to do on HF. There's also a free version, unlicensed, again, which has a reduced speed capability, but you can also run that unlicensed. The license is $70 one time. May seem like a lot, but this, gentlemen and ladies, is military-grade technology, and that license buys both the FM and HF apps with full speed capability. However, there is a group purchase capability of 10 or more, and the price is $50 instead of $70 per license.
And that's something we wanted to mention tonight, and on the folks that are online, about that reduced rate.
Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
If you were listening, what would it sound like?
Kind of like one of the old dial-up modems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on the speed, okay? Depends on the modulation mode. It uses several different modulation modes depending upon the speed it's sending at, and it can switch between modulation modes, okay? Some of them sound like a buzz, some of them sound like, if you've ever heard PSK 31, for example, sometimes it sounds like that, and sometimes it sounds just like a buzz if it's going really, really fast.
So is this WinLink or VARA or both?
VARA.
Is both of them.
WinLink is just the platform, okay? And either packet or VARA or Telnet is the way of getting it into and out of the WinLink application. WinLink alone doesn't do anything. You have to have either a radio connected to or Telnet. Telnet, I mean. Okay, so we talked about why VARA is good. Now I hope you can see that it really is fast.
One quick question.
Yes.
If you have the military grade and I have, or the $70 version,
Right.
and I have the free,
I can still communicate with you. It just will slow the speed down based upon your capability with the free version. Okay?
You're required to put quarters though in.
yeah.
So someone with a licensed version can communicate very easily with someone with a free version, no problem. Okay? So now the next question is, why peer-to-peer? That sounds like it. That's
VARA.
That's VARA, and that's a slow speed. That's slow speed. Thank
Oh,
you. Thank
Sounds
you
like
very
my
much.
wife.
Appreciate it.
That's only when you made her.
The Zoom meeting is ended. I guess we went over our time, huh? Okay, why use peer-to-peer? Because it does not use the internet. Messages go from one radio to another. Well, why would you want to do that? Well, it can be particularly useful for what we call last mile communications. Now, what is that? AREL Public Safety and Emergency Communications for amateur radio says that the greatest vulnerability and
Russ,
most disasters for
is
communications
this the free
systems
version?
lies in
Because
the
it just
last
stopped.
mile.
Yeah.
That's the area directly affected by the disaster.
Did it really?
This has been and will continue to be the most difficult to solve. Infrastructure, regardless of how well built, is still vulnerable, and the last mile is the weakest, meaning where is the internet going to go out? Where is normal communication going to go out? In the affected area. So we need to have the capability to be able to not use those systems, to use our own that can be used in that situation. I was the ARES EC for the city and county of San Francisco during the Lemo Crater earthquake or the San Francisco Bay earthquake in October 17th of 1989. And I got to see firsthand what last mile looks like. Here's a couple of examples. It was actually, you can see, a real baptism by fire for me. This was a two-story building before the earthquake. After the earthquake, it's now a one-story building. I feel bad for that guy whose car was parked out in front of it and didn't know that the building was going to fall on it. Here's another one of these two-story buildings. The reason these collapsed is because they had what's called a soft story. Parking was the first floor, and then all the residential areas were on the top floor, second floor. And since there wasn't a lot of structure in the parking area, that created a soft story. That's why many of these buildings collapsed like this. Across the bay in Oakland, this is what's called the Nimitz Freeway. They didn't have enough land to build a traditional freeway with the travel lanes going side by side, so they built them one on top of the other. Well, you can see what happened. They collapsed. And there were many vehicles driving on the freeway at the time it collapsed. Really, really bad news.
You're headed to the,
What?
if you're headed to the Oakland airport, that was the way you went.
Yep. However, I'm happy to say that even though we were in, well, first of all, because it's the last mile, many government and commercial communication systems were out of service. But I'm happy to report that for us, all amateur radio FM repeater systems and packet radio systems were operational and supported government, NGO, and commercial needs. That's what we need to be prepared to do. So, and now I think I'm coming to the most important part of this presentation. Oh, well, I'm going to go back, I'm sorry. How does this work? How do you send peer-to-peer message? Well, this is WinLink. And when you prepare the message, when you create the message, you have to say, send it as a peer-to-peer message. One will say WinLink, and it's dropped out WinLink message. One will say peer-to-peer message, and one will say radio-only message. So you, first of all, you tell WinLink, I want to send this as a peer-to-peer message. Okay? Once you prepare the message and you put it in your outbox, you can tell it's a peer-to-peer for two things. You see the recipient up here, and it says, parenthesis, P2P. That means it recognizes that as a peer-to-peer message. Also, if you open the message up and look at it, you'll see down here P2P true. So again, now you know that this is a peer-to-peer message which is ready to go to be used for peer-to-peer.
Now, peer-to-peer, if I'm not mistaken, could only be sent to another ham station.
That's correct.
You cannot send a peer-to-peer over an email. So it has to go from me to him.
That's right. It has to go from one WinLink user to the other WinLink user.
And he's got
both
to be
operating in peer-to-peer.
On and ready to receive.
Pardon?
He has to be on and ready to receive.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be on the same frequency, ready to communicate together. Exactly. On the same frequency, ready to communicate.
So if I was on the same frequency as two people trying to do peer-to-peer, my radio was on that same frequency, would it pick up that? Or would it?
No, it would not, because you had to be connected through this to be able to receive and send the data. You would be able to hear the VARA on the frequency being sent, but you could not see it.
But if I had VARA, enabled and everything, and my computer was there, and all of a sudden, one individual starts that peer-to-peer communication to, another party, but yet my computer happened to listen and hear that, and I've got VARA up, would it recognize it? Or does the peer-to-peer say, oh, my computer isn't, whatever that call
Yeah,
sign was?
if your call sign is the same as the recipient, then yes, you could. But since your call sign is different,
Okay,
your computer will reject it.
okay.
Okay,
Peer-to-peer has to go from call sign to call sign.
and I'm getting to that in a minute here. Okay?
Okay.
So how do you open a WinLink VARA peer-to-peer session? Well, here again, there's various sessions type. There's a WinLink packet, WinLink telnet, and there's VARA FM peer-to-peer. And that's what you want to select as your session type. It is VARA FM P2P, and then you open that session. And what happens? How do you start the session? Well, here now you're open, up, ready to go. And then you can tell what's going on because it says launching the VARA FM TNC. Okay, so that's good to go, right? Successfully connected to the VARA FM TNC. That's a good sign. You want to see that, right? Ready? And then it says it's a peer-to-peer session it's preparing for right now. So that means that you successfully opened a peer-to-peer session in WinLink.
Now, the VARA FM TNC is contained within the software.
Yep.
VARA software.
Standalone, it's all standalone.
It's not a
Except-
separate-
Except for the sound card, you have to have a sound card.
Yeah. It's-
And then what happens then, if I'm sending this to John, which we did a test, the station that you're connecting to, you put their call sign in there, and they put your call sign in there on their end, okay? And so these are the two stations that are on the same frequency, prepared to communicate. And you can coordinate all of this, remember, on voice FM. You can get on the voice frequency, say, are you ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready to go. Okay, let's get this going. Now, once that's done and you're ready to go, you got the session set up, you've got the call signs in the right place, the protocol is only one of the two stations starts the session, only one. What they do is they click start, and you again decide between the two of you on FM voice, do you want to start or do you want me to start? And then whoever is designated to start clicks the start button.
Now, one thing here, I'm going to interject something here. You know, we talk about our grab-and-go kits, our radios. Okay, this is suggesting already that you need to have a dedicated radio if you're going to work on WinLink in a disaster-type situation, this last mile communications. This would suggest to me, anyway, that I'm going to have at least a dedicated FM radio for
Portable communications.
portable communications, for handling WinLink traffic.
But if you look on my QRZ page, my QRZ.com page, and look at me, you will see a description of my portable WinLink setup. Okay?
Now, you're disagreeing with me. You're saying no.
You don't have to have a dedicated one. If you have one that'll handle 2 channels, like even your little Baofeng,
Yeah.
you talk to them on the A, you press it to B, you hit it and you go.
Well, again, that's, okay, you're
So it
right
doesn't
about
have to
that.
be- yeah.
But it's still a dedicated, you know, it's still a dedicated to that frequency, right?
One channel is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still use the other channel for whatever you want.
Well,
Maybe that'd be semantics.
If I was in a
It's
field,
semantics, I think.
if I was in a field, I could use my FM radio for either voice net or
Yeah.
for WinLink, depending upon what I'm doing at that particular point. So I could use one radio for either FM voice or VARA. I could use the same one if I wanted to. It's nice to have more than one, but I could do it with just one radio. Okay, here's how the peer-to-peer session protocols work. The initiating station, the one who says, okay, I'm going to start the session, automatically sends all its outbox messages addressed to that call sign, that station, to the receiving station automatically. If you have more than one, it'll send all of them. Then, after it sends all the messages to the receiving station, it will automatically query the receiving station, do you have messages for me? And if the other station has messages for you, you will pull those messages from the other station automatically. And if you've got a lot of people, hopefully, that have VARA FM and WinLink, you can have messages in your outbox for multiple different stations, and one at a time. All you have to do is come up on a frequency and say, I am on the net. I am now, my VARA station, WinLink station, is operating on this frequency. And you can go there and log in and connect to me and download messages for you. So one at a time, someone can log in, can connect to me. I can just leave my station up and running. You just connect to me, and it will see if there's a message or messages for you. And if there are, it'll automatically download them. And then you disconnect, and someone else can connect and do the same thing. So I can have a number of messages in my outbox to multiple stations, and one at a time they can connect to my station and pull the messages. Best results for peer-to-peer communications requires a high-power rig. 50 watts would be good. Although I've had good luck with a handheld and 30 watts with an external amplifier. A good quality outdoor antenna. A good quality sound card, that's important. And a well-adjusted VARA app. And the VARA app will actually walk you through adjusting it so it will be able to perform optimally. You can even ping the station that you're connecting to see what the signal path is like, and it can tell you, okay, you need to make these adjustments to optimize the signal between the two of you. Don't try this at home with a rubber duck and handout. Now I did a test with John, KJ7JJ, and with W7CHP and Sandy from my home station in Taylorsville. How did it work, guys? Did it work?
That worked great.
Yeah, great, wasn't it? It was great. Now, here's the most important part of my presentation. We want you to be a radio superhero. Now, this guy is Radio Man. Let me tell you a little bit of history on him. You know, my call sign is NN7RM. My call sign suffix is on his chest because that's Radio Man. He is my avatar. When I was in San Francisco and was the EC for San Francisco, I upgraded to extra class the week before the earthquake. And I got a new call sign, AA6RM. When I checked into the net, people kept asking, where's David? Where's David? It was me, but with a new call sign. Well, after a while, they got used to that, and they started calling me an AA6 Radio Man. And after a while, they began to stop calling me David, and they called me by name, Radio Man. And I started thinking, well, that's not too bad. I think I like that. That's pretty good. And my avatar, Radio Man, has become my motivation to try to be better in emergency communications. And I encourage you to try to do the same. We gained radio superhero powers by improving our knowledge and skills with training and exercising. Thank you for those opportunities. And by improving our equipment capabilities as we can. It took me a while before I got my FT M300, but now that I have it, it's increased my superhero powers considerably. And I'm hoping that you want to do that because, according to the ARES, the passion for the vocation of ham radio is part of what makes hams so capable. And I hope that you will have that passion and have a desire to gain more superhero radio man powers.
Are you saying that I can be a superhero?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Not.
Here's my contact information.
Thank you. Anything else?
Any questions? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
This radio that you referred to, the 300, does it have a built-in sound card?
It does not have a built-in sound card. I use a Signal Link sound card for it.
Aren't the old Signal Links incapable of running the high-speed VARA?
If it has black transformers, it will. If it has red ones, it does not. So that's a good question. You need to have some sort of sound card to make this all work for your radio. Again, my FT991 has a built-in sound card, so I didn't need an external sound card. When I went portable, though, with my handheld, I had to have a separate sound card. So I got a Tiger Shrining's Signal Link, and I've been using that for portable operations with my handheld radio. But again, I could not use wide mode for that. Now that I have my FTM300 with a data jack, I can actually, in portable operations, use wide mode now. So.
I think your MobiLink is a decent one that'll handle high-speed stuff. And it's a chip about the size of a thumb drive.
What about these DigiRigs? Anybody use those?
I've heard about that, and it's probably okay. Yeah. WinLink is probably the best quality one out there. It's a little bit more expensive than the others, but you know, again, if you wanted to use this high technology software, it's probably best to get the best sound card that you can feel comfortable in.
I would think something that is more portable than a Signal Link or something if you were running around. I haven't used one, but that's the reason these DigiRigs attract my attention. They look like they would work very good in a portable situation.
That's a good point. It may not be as portable, but I've never had any
So
problem
it's a
using
little
that.
bigger than 2 decks of cards.
Yeah.
What?
The Signal Link is just a little bigger than 2 decks of cards.
Yeah, about that big.
And so that's pretty portable.
Because I've been using it with my handheld and a 31 amplifier in the past, and I have a Diamond Super Gainer mobile antenna that I use, and it's really good.
There are lots of YouTube videos on VARA and WinLink things, and every one of them will list the equipment and stuff that they use. So a lot of them are the mobile links, the digits, you know,
Yeah, but you do need some kind,
Yeah, but you need, for some of the radios, yeah, you do need.
and remember what I said earlier, that those high speeds are achievable with a good quality sound card.
Yeah.
In the past, I used my FT991, real good sound card, at home, and for portable, use the SignaLink, and now I can use the SignaLink with my FT300 at full speed applying. Any other questions?
Thank you, Dan. How many of you ever used WinLink before? Okay. And those who have not used WinLink, do we need to set up a,
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I have to see it.
okay, well, we
We
can
can arrange that, just let me know.
we can do that.
We can take care
I'd
of
be
that.
happy to help anybody who wants to. do
Yeah,
this.
I think we probably ought to do something like that in a park type situation where we're, close enough that we can walk back and forth, but, far enough away that we can use a handheld or something like that to do the communication. Kelly?
Actually, I prefer to do it in a building. Standing out in a park on a night like this is just too
Probably
much.
not good.
You talked about,
I'm getting old and, working at zero is just not my thing.
Russ can go out in the park, we'll stay here.
Yeah, wait.
Here and communicate with Russ.
you talked about a new station at Red Cross. Have you thought about using WinLink and VARA, or WinLink for that? at that
We've thought
station?
about WinLink, but not necessarily the VAR, but we will have a discussion about it.
Right, but you've been thinking about WinLink, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
And it'd be nice to have a WinLink station in shelters that are open as well, right?
Yeah, in fact, all the radios we have computer to radio connections.
Okay.
Mainly the older model, Kenwood 710s,
D700s.
yeah. And we are asking for a grant to get some new, real good HF equipment.
Okay, how many of you would be interested in going with that group buy of VARA, the full license? Okay, we got one, two, okay. And those
Three.
of you, three, okay. So those of you online,
There's nobody online.
well, no one online? Well, in the recording, how about that? Those
There
of
you
you
go.
in the recording, if you would like to get on the group buy for VARA, send Dan an email, no, send me an email, and we'll consider putting everybody on that group buy.
Just to expedite, let me give you your credit card number, 312-659-5.
Now, wait a minute, yeah, how'd you know that? Please.
Yeah, there are a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of training available online, but one of the best things is that there are two different organizations. One does a WinLink Wednesday, which I don't prefer, but there's a WinLink Thursday. And every Thursday, they have an exercise for you to do, and it's taking photographs, shrinking them down, making sure they're the right size, attaching them to your message, sending the message, getting a reply back, and it walks you literally step by step. Click on this, pick this out of the menu, go over here. So you learn some of the best ways of handling and filling out these forms, getting them attached to the message, getting the message sent. So it really is good. I like WinLink Thursday. And then you can go back and look at a map and see how well it has everybody in the world that has participated for that week on the map, and you can click on it, it'll tell you who they are and what they did and what their score is, because they score everybody.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's in process right now, because I know during the winter time they were taking some time off. It wasn't every.
It doesn't start till February now.
Okay.
They took all of January off.
So February is the next.
Yep,
Wednesday,
February is the
Thursday.
next one.
And that one's fun. It is fun.
It is fun.
And the nice thing about it, if you print up those instructions and put them in a notebook,
Yeah.
guess what you've got?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you find information about that Thursday?
Google WinLink
it.
Thursday.
WinLink Thursday,
WinLink
it'll take you there.
WinLink Thursday. And you can do it telnet if you want to.
John participates in that.
You can send me an email and I can send you the link as well.
Yeah.
It's organized by an organization, I'm trying to think out loud here. ETO, I believe, stands for Emergency Training Organization.
Yeah.
And we are in Division 8
Yeah, ETO 8.
of ETO.
Yeah.
And it's actually a lot of fun, and they make it purposely somewhat difficult.
Make it challenging so you can learn.
Yeah.
And actually, that makes it more fun for me. And
Good.
I've learned a lot, and I think it has enormous capabilities for MCOM. And I will also mention, a lot of you are wondering, well, I'm already into Packet. I've been in Packet for 20 years. Why do I need to get into VARA? And I was thinking a lot about that recently, and I look at it a little bit from my perspective because I'm essentially a new ham. And I look at it a lot like the difference between a manual and an automatic transmission. My sons have never learned how to operate a standard transmission because they just don't perceive a need. Why do I need to do that? Because the state of automatic transmissions now is such, you can put an automatic transmission in your F-350 that will pull the triple axle RV over the summit and have plenty of compression going down. What's the use? Why do I need to learn that new thing? And that's sort of the way I feel about Packet. Why do I even want to download Packet? I'll just use VARA, and it does everything I need to do, and it does it faster. And so I wish I had known a week ago of this group rate. You would have saved me 19 bucks, but I purchased the VARA license last week because I'm having fun every week on WinLink Thursday. I've gotten into VARA AC, which uses the VARA modem to do actual HF chats on in weak signal kind of FT8 kind of format.
Except it's not FT8, you can do.
It's not FT8, it's using the
keyboard conversation
VARA
back and forth.
app, but you can do actual chats
Yeah.
with people, and it's, I found that to be very fun, and I think that has certain MCOM potential.
Yes.
Because it is weak signal. And so, yeah, I'm not picking up the guy in Pittsburgh really well, but boom, I can chat with him on.
Well, and
RAC.
this makes it even much more handy. If you've got, okay, I've got a 5-watt Bofane that I'm going through the microphone connections, because that happens to be the only radio that survives the apocalypse. I still might be able to get a VARA signal out to Dan over here in Taylorsville, or Dave, sorry, Dave over here in Taylorsville, that he can use as and relay it out to the local RMS station under weak signal conditions. So
Anyway, just play with
Yeah,
WinLink
get it.
Thursdays, it's a lot of fun.
so
I paid full price, I don't regret it.
Yeah, I don't regret it, but
Yeah.
it could save me
I don't
19
either,
bucks.
because look at the
if I waited a
technology you're
week.
getting, it is phenomenal technology.
yeah.
So it's not, it's a lot cheaper than a B-52 toilet seat.
I'll keep that in mind.
A toilet for the space shuttle or the whatever.
That's a vacuum cleaner.
So,
Yes.
how many nodes do we have now? Just the one out in West Valley and the one,
Well, there are two in West Valley. One of them is not very good, but there's two in West Valley that are FM 2 meters. There is a second in the valley and HF only one, okay? And then there's one in Farmington, the Davis Amateur Radio Club. It is the best one in the area, and it is what's called the hybrid one. That's the one that if you send a message to it and the internet's down, it will automatically queue it up on HF and send it by HF automatically if the internet's down. It's really a good regional message
Yeah,
sending
the
station.
Davis County group has done a marvelous job of getting that node put together.
Now, can you get it from Sandy, the
Yeah.
Farmington one? And you can get it too, right? And I can get it, right?
Yes, I can get it. They also have an HF RMS.
Yes.
Do you know the call sign of that?
You know, the thing about it is, if you-
K7 DAV, I think.
K7DAV-10.
the way you figure it out is when you open up a VARA link, you can actually have it go out and find all of the local stations
Yep.
automatically for you.
Yep.
And it'll give you,
Exactly.
I just wasn't sure if that was the one
The
you're talking about.
K7DAV-10, that's it, it's
Yeah.
in Farmington.
and it'll give you a green or a yellow or a red, you
Tells you
know,
how many miles away from your location
Yeah.
it is, the
Yeah.
whole bit.
and which direction to turn your beam if you got, you know, whatever. So it's, don't worry about, you know, I wouldn't say
If
worry.
you haven't tried it, give it a try.
Well, I've tried HF, and usually with my antenna, I've got a NIVIS antenna, and it's not really great for local, but I do always hit like about 180 miles, you know, that's what
That's
it's
the
gonna
purpose of a
work.
NIVIS.
So that works great, but I've never tried the FM, and so,
If you have that capability, give it a try.
Yeah. Vertically polarized, just like you're talking on the radio.
Yeah, and from my home, I never have any difficulty at 20 watts hitting that Farmington station.
Yeah.
Okay, question. These RMS stations that you are speaking of, are they all capable of VARA, or are they some of just regular old packet stuff?
One of the two RMS stations in Salt Lake County that has FM capability is packet only. The other one is packet and VARA. But it's kind of flaky, I'll just say it that, it's kind of flaky. West Valley City manages those. The one in Farmington is fully capable of for VARA, narrow and wide, and HF as well. And again, if you don't have HF, I like FM better. It's, you know, easy and good signals.
Yeah, well, this-
It'll send by HF if it has to.
Now, question, the VARA, will that go through a repeater as well? Have you tried that through a repeater?
That would be a bit difficult for two reasons. Number one is because, you know, you gotta wait for the beep, you know, and you gotta synchronize between the, you know, when the carrier drops for the other station, that has to be synchronized. But also, if it has a PL tone, they block off the bottom, you know, 300 kilohertz for the PL tone, and that will not work very well with the
Okay,
VARA FM.
so it's basically then peer-to-peer, then not,
Yeah, I would say if you're gonna do it peer-to-peer, don't try to do it over a repeater. But again, I got Sandy really good.
Yeah, they're great.
okay. Any other questions or any other things?
I'm gonna go to his place and go check it out.
Okay. You know, I know it's awful cold outside to do anything like that, but maybe we could set something up here in the library. You know, between here and the other side of the
You can bring
library.
in a couple
Yeah, we thought about
of-
doing a demonstration, but I didn't want to take the time tonight to do that.
Well, it would take another meeting
No,
or hour to
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
But yeah, we could arrange a demonstration.
Or maybe that we can do that maybe for the February meeting if everybody's
Yeah.
so inclined to do that
We
then.
can see how it works, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, we'll make that a date. If you want to help us head that up. And maybe your other compadres here that have played with that. And we'll do a demonstration between here and
Yeah, I would like that.
the other
I'd like to
room,
see it.
you know, on the other side of the library or something, and,
It really works, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Of course, there are those niggly things. Every time Microsoft updates my computer, I've got to go back in and reset every damn switch in the thing to make sure it works. Oh, you're hitting the same thing?
well, Microsoft today forced me to Windows 11
Oh, did they?
on my main PC. My other PCs are too old to run Windows 11, thank goodness.
One of the reasons I bought the full license is I was having a problem with the Farmington station, the RMS. I was disconnecting after about 1 or 2 minutes
Oh, really? Yeah.
of exchanging data. And it would just randomly disconnect. I didn't know why. And I thought, well, maybe it's because the free version isn't fast enough. I don't know. But I could connect to the HF portal of the same station and I was fine. The problem there is, it is a little slower, and with my free version, I would time out. Because in the free version, I think it does time you out after 10 minutes.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
And, you know, that's one limitation. It might be 15. And with WinLink Thursday, if I'm transmitting a photo on the free version speed in narrowband, because I'm using an FT991A, I didn't have enough time to get my message sent all the time. So I would
Somewhere
have to,
getting money out of
you know,
it.
like this, some of those exercises where they required 2 messages, I'd usually have to do that in 2 different sessions.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. It's one of the reasons I said I'm just gonna buy the thing, because I'm using it anyway.
I would like to hear your results with the paid version, because you shouldn't have those kind of
Yeah,
problems.
and I'm expecting that, but I'll see if it continues, and I probably have some configuration problem.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking, maybe, I got a Pockrass J-pole that is just leaning in the corner of my den. We could just lean it up against the wall, and I could set up my 991A and a battery and talk across the room. I mean, that would work.
Oh, yeah.
And I could probably hit, from inside the building with that, I could probably light up the Farmington RMS, I'm guessing.
It's possible.
Okay, are there any other thing we need to, it's about 7:30, quarter late, so we need to kind of wrap things up.
Has this been useful, interesting?
Okay. These are the kind of things we're looking for, guys, on our in-person meetings and training. So if we have a volunteer that would like to go for training.
Thank you,
Need
Dave.
your shirts?
Way to go, Dave.
I've got
Appreciate it.
Good job, David.
2X?
on the chairs.
What do I know?